And it's just being able to trust, setting things up, in my mind of what I believe I desire, what I want to be possible, and then focusing.
Yeah.
There's power in your focus, obviously, because what you focus on expands and grows and all the things. So it's that shift of focusing to what is it that you actually want. Don't focus on what you don't want, or you're going to get more of that.
Yeah.
So you want to switch your job, you want a new relationship, you want this, that, and the other. Focus on that.
Right.
Speak life into that. And that will be.
And take aligned action. Like you weren't just thinking, you thought about it first, but then the time came when it was like, okay, enough is enough. No more of that. I quit.
Yes.
And
that
then
was
boom,
the aligned
boom,
action.
boom, new opportunities right there. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Joyous Path to Millions podcast with me, your host, Emily June Wilcox, serial entrepreneur, seven-figure business owner, mindset junkie, creator of the Money Wound Medicine program, devoted mama of two, and on a mission to put more money in the hands of solopreneurs through healing money wounds, building abundant businesses, balancing masculine and feminine energy. Because when we do this, we up-level the frequency of the planet and we help usher in new paradigm wealth. I am here for that, for myself, for you, and for everyone. So welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. I've got a great interview for you today with one of my real life best friends who's also an incredible entrepreneur and just a very spiritually minded person. And I think you're really going to love, in a way, witnessing like conversations that we have all the time. But also, I love interviewing people in my life because I learn things about their story that I hadn't asked before or hadn't heard in that specific way. And we get to dive deeper into their journey in entrepreneurship and wealth building and learn more about their methodology. And so that is what we're doing in today's episode. I'm really shifting the focus of the podcast to more interviews again. So I've got a really incredible roster coming up for you. So make sure that you are liked and subscribed to the show so that you don't miss all of the incredible interviews I've got coming. And without further ado, let's dive into today's guest, Jaci Marie. So I am here with the gorgeous Jaci Marie. She's a real life friend and entrepreneur, and she is part of the little entrepreneur bestie squad that some of you guys might see appear on my social media every once in a while. And as Roxy and I were talking about on a recent episode, like we all manifested each other.
Yeah. Yes. I met you, I met her, I met everyone separately, and then we all came together so beautifully, so aligned, really.
Yeah.
Like, amazing.
So like, what were you specifically manifesting in a friend group?
Community. Oh, I was scripting hard, and I don't even like that word, with community, friendship, and aligned souls. Like those who dream big, have delusional, grandiose visions and ideas, and that's who continued to come into my experience and my awareness.
Yeah.
Like I wanted big, beautiful, bold dreams in the women that I was meeting.
And not only did you get that, but I think that's actually like the name of Roxy's membership. It's like Big Bold Dreams Club or something like that.
And then boom, we meet at a networking event, like beeline to each other. The universe just works in just amazing ways.
Yeah. Well, it was fun because literally just 2 days ago, I was down in Newport Beach because one of my like soul sisters that I met in a mastermind 5 years ago, she was in town for a James Wedmore event, and she's like such a nature lover and she loves the ocean. So she was like, meet up with me in Newport Beach. And we literally walked with our feet in the sand and the waves for 2 hours, just like catching up on life. And then we met another friend for dinner and had like 4-hour dinner. But it was fun because at a certain point, she was talking about how in Florida, she had like one key friend that was kind of like just witchy, natural, crunchy, like just living a similar lifestyle to her. And she was like, that friend is like, they still have their Florida house, but they mostly moved, I think, to Ohio or something. And she was like, what do you have locally? And I was like, I have my crew. And it felt so good to say it because I could tell her like the whole story. Because she was like, wait, you had that one friend that moved to Hawaii. I'm like, yeah, my best friend who like was my person and all of that moved away. And so then I was like manifesting like, okay, I want more women entrepreneurs who see the world through like a very spiritual lens where our families can get along and hang out, like all the things. And so that had like been on my just like affirmations and journaling and scripting and calling in. And then I was telling this friend, Leah, I'm like, one day I got the kind of divine hit to like just post something on Facebook. And so I went into the local mommies group and was like, are there any witchy mamas that would want to get together for a full moon ceremony? And 150 other women commented. Which, like, first of all, I loved that because, I mean, yes, we are in LA, but I think, in talking to so many clients that I've had over the years, a lot of them believe, like, there's no one like me where I am.
Right.
And I'm like, yes, there is.
Out there.
Yes, there is. If there's you, there's someone else.
Absolutely.
And so even just the response to that post was so affirming. And of course, I didn't want to schedule a gathering with 150 people. I was like, I want this intimate thing in my house. And so I like sent people an evite until I got like 15 yeses and then just kind of like capped it there. And as I was telling Leah, I'm like, it was a really fun full moon session, whatever. And I'm like, but there was one person there who I was like, okay, we have a connection. And it was you. And you like texted me afterwards. You're like, let's get together again. And oh, by the way, there's this Brunch with Babes event you should come to. And then I met Shelby there and Roxy came and you and Roxy had just met. And I don't even know how we started doing our lunches from there, but like that became the thing.
I think Roxy and I might have put that together like, hey, like the four of us, something happened at Brunch with Babes for me. And I was like, this right here, this dynamic, the four of us, it's locked. It's locked in. And I might have mentioned it to Roxy. And then I was like, the four of us should get together and just kind of like brainstorm. And that was it. That was the beginning of the end of us being like together monthly. I don't know how many months it's been now, but it's been incredible.
Yeah.
But
and I think like the cool thing about the monthly lunches too is like I've been able to witness all of our devotion to it. Oh, yeah. Like really how invested we are in continuing to cultivate these relationships and build depth because it's hard to coordinate 4 schedules. And even though we have it recurring, things come up and I don't know. It's just been really sweet for me to like witness again and again us choosing like, oh, well, we're not going to cancel this month. Like if you can't do it, we'll figure it out and let's find a way because it really feels so important and so life-giving for all 4 of us to be together.
That's so true. The dedication, the commitment to each other, watching us. I think some of us, it's life. Life happens and we have ebbs and flows and some of us are up. Some of us are feeling a little like low vibe for whatever reason and how we come together. We pour life into each other. We speak life into each other and we make it happen, but we make it happen. Like you said, like we will coordinate our schedules. We will work it around. If it's not lunch, it's brunch. If it's breakfast, like we will figure it out to get together, the 4 of us. And it's amazing. And I love that for us.
I do too. It feels really special and it just feels like it keeps getting better and better because it's like the more time we put in, like the more we get to know each other and we have more inside jokes or we like know more about each other's, I don't know, just like businesses and the way that we look at life and family dynamics. And so then the conversations get even better too.
Yes. And my favorite is just we're quirky and weirdness and whatever it is that we are, like we love about each other. Yeah. And it makes us uniquely divine. And we just love all of our parts together.
Totally. I know, like the first time when you came to my house, we were talking about Egypt because I think I was only back for like a month or something. And I was telling you about the book I was reading where the woman like remembers a full past life in Egypt. And she talks about the ways that they actually built the pyramids and all of this stuff. And like you just leaned in and you were like, yes, like you are my person. I love that we're having this conversation. Like you just wanted to go there. And that was so fun.
I love to just kind of cast my net like, well, how deep can we go? How
Yeah.
deep can I go with this, with this person? Because the rabbit hole for me, it's never ending. So I
Right.
love these deep dive conversations.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
me too. Like when it's a combo that you're not going to have anywhere else. And
Yes.
even when I don't necessarily like believe it or I don't know what I believe, I'm just like, sure,
Right.
like hit me with your conspiracy theory. Hit me with this. Like I don't to me, like that's not what's required. It's not you're trying to convince me of what's true or I'm trying to convince you.
Right.
It's just having a fascinating conversation that I don't know, like it tickles that part of you that just like wants to believe that there's more than this 3D reality that we're fed that is so coming in through the five senses and it feels so real. And yet there's an energetic realm that's even more real, but we forget unless we remind ourselves and we're reminded by others.
Yes. But I think what you said, what is most important is that we may not agree. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But I think it's the openness
Yeah.
of hearing other people's perspectives and thoughts about it and your openness to listen. Like that's the piece for me. Like we don't have to agree, but
Yeah.
you're just open to say, well, tell me about that. Or like, I want to hear more. Maybe I can do my own research, whatever it may be. But I crave the openness of dialogue with people and the conversations to go wherever they may go. And everyone's neutral and chill with it. They're not, well,
Yeah,
no,
totally.
this is my way and this is the only way or the right way. Like, no.
Right. I agree. Like there's zero convincing energy. It like in our crew. I don't even think we sometimes even know if someone believes us or not because it's like it's kind of irrelevant because nobody's trying to convince anybody of anything and it's just like fun and fascinating.
It's so good. I preach collaboration over competition and we are fully in just collaboration, community and connection. Like there is no competition. There's no convincing anyone. It's just fucking amazing.
Yeah. Did you like always have like spiritual interests or did you go through an awakening?
It was always there in the background, but I was very much the play by the societal rules girl, stay within the box, go to school, get the career, get the degree, get the house, like ABC all in a row. Very routine with it. Very much play the societal game.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, for sure, there was always some kind of spiritual, I was always drawn to like witchy shows or werewolves or vampire, like all of the kind of like esoteric, like outside of the box spiritual type things. But it was my career, like shifting that really kicked open, like broke the box down. And it was this, I played by the rules, right? I did what I was told. I went to college. I have 4 degrees. I've got the 6-figure career. I bought the house. I bought the luxury car. I had the baby. I did everything, you know, that they say, okay, you've checked off all the boxes. And then for me, it was what's next? I've done, where's my pot of gold at the end of this rainbow that, you know, we say that's important. And it was, this is it. And I'm like, what do you mean this is it? This is it. Then you just ride this out until, you know, you retire at fucking 70 or whatever age. And I'm like, wait, what? You know, like this can't be it. And I had this intuitive hit and this calling and this nudge that was just like, there's more. It was a whisper. There's more for you. And, you know, a little bit of guilt started to come up because I'm in a profession of healthcare. I'm a registered nurse. I'm helping people. I have like all the things that society says we are to get. And I'm like, well, I'm doing things. I'm helping people. I have the money. I have the this. But that nudge was not letting up. And I'm like, okay. And to ward that off or to kind of like minimize it, I decided to get into fitness and just let me do some self-care and, you know, work on myself, get my health up. And that was it. That was the catalyst. That's what shot me into a whole another realm of what is possible. Really along my journey of fitness was the mindset and really understanding like my body's not going to do what my mind isn't going to tell it to do and being able to create a physique. I got into bodybuilding competitions, really understanding the power of nutrition, even though and still am a registered nurse. That wasn't really the foundation of our education. You know, it wasn't about food as medicine and move your body and all of these things. So to be able to create a physique and create a lifestyle, it just cracked my mind open. And then I began to put it into other areas of my life. I'm like, okay, well, if I can do this with my body, can I do it with money, friendships, relationships, all of these different things? And then just being open being open to what was possible is what really just shifted my whole perspective and awareness, and meeting other people who were more open-minded, those who were in business or created business. And that was not even in my realm of possibility or existence. It was, you go to school, you get a job, and that's that.
Right.
So,
especially the nursing field. I feel like it's just like there's a guaranteed job for you, and like it's so safe.
Yes. And it's very true. I mean, if I were to leave, I could come back. That's one thing that's going to be constant in this realm, is when there's going to be people who need to help them.
Yeah.
And I think the shiny or golden handcuffs, as we can call them, the more you continue to work, the more shifts, the overtime, this, that, and the other, the money gets better and better.
Right.
And I think too, within nursing, there's so many different avenues. And I didn't know that. When you go to nursing school, it's just, you go to the hospital, you work in the clinic, then you move up and you're like a nurse manager, nurse leader, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Or even if you shifted over to like nursing case management, there's places in nursing that you don't even have to touch a patient, a person. So that's like, for those who were like, I don't want to do hospital work anymore, this is amazing. But once I was able to step outside of that with fitness and nutrition, it was seeing the possibility of helping other people outside of this traditional one way only.
Yeah.
So, and that was a shift for me too. It's like, I can help people in such a more passionate and inspiring way for me that allows me to truly pour into people, truly share my gift. And it's not this one avenue. It's health and fitness and mindset and all the other things that I can participate in that can help people, but from a place of such excitement from me to them.
I love that.
That was a shift. Yeah. And it's just been a beautiful journey ever since, and like finding different ways to help.
Yeah.
And I still dabble, of course. I still dabble. Nursing I still love it. It's still foundational for me. It's being able to truly now see my clients and my individuals holistically, mind, body, spirit, period. And that's it. That's my passion. That's my jam. That's what lights me up.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the tactical steps, right? Because your mindset changed, like, oh, I want to help people in a new way.
Yes.
And yet you had this, whatever, stable full-time income. And I think what's hard for a lot of people to conceptualize, and what is so fascinating about this podcast and the reason people like tuning in, is like understanding like what the steps have been. And because it's like, it's sort of easier for the mind to think like, oh, so then you just quit the nursing job and did this other thing. But it's like, that's not real life for most people. Okay. Like, you're living in Southern California, you've got a child. You don't just typically get to quit one thing and do something totally different. But I feel like you've been creative in the ways that you've kind of like integrated these different pieces of your skill set. So can you talk a little bit more about that and like tactically what you did?
Wow. Yeah, I can. And it's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix of the woo, and it's going to be a mix of, the ways in which the strategy of the physical, right? Yeah. So when I started my journey within fitness, I documented it on the Instagram, on the Facebook, and that's kind of what got people inspired and intrigued, and they wanted to know more. So my coaching experience started with nutrition and fitness originally, because that was my journey, and I was like, oh, I want to help everybody do the things this way. Yeah. But I was still in, my full time, but I was, before I even knew what scripting was or fully understanding the power of manifestation, the energy and the mind was just, the three things I wanted. I wanted to leave the hospital. I wanted to be able to stay with my child. And I just wanted the freedom and flexibility, right, of my own time and my own schedule. So every morning I was working the 6 to 2:30 shift. Every morning, 5 a.m., I'm on the road. And that was just the energy. That energy was just so strong. Like, I want this. I want this. And even to the point, Emily, where I would walk into the hospital, and it was almost like my soul, my spirit was like, we're not going in there with you anymore. Like, we're done with this. It was like soul snatching. And there was an event that had happened at the hospital where it allowed me to transition over into like clinic work. Yeah. And it was just this time of Jaci, like, this is it. Like, you're either going to go ahead and just take off and figure it out, or you are going to continue to stay here and ride this out until you're 70 and retire from this place. Um, and it was just continuously just, I know it's not very tactical. It's not very like 1, 2, 3, but this was my experience. I ended up just saying, I'm going to figure it out. And I quit my job on Facebook Live. And I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But what was so interesting was that the power that happens when you make a decision
Yeah.
and you fully just trust that you are going to be okay, that whole saying, like, leap and the net will appear, is
Yeah.
so real. And it's the uncertainty for many people, myself included, where it's like, well, I don't know what's going to happen this and I don't know what's going to happen with that. But the ability to have that faith and trust that we say that we do
Yeah.
is so fucking powerful. And that's exactly what happened. Once I made the decision, truly full body decision of I'm not doing this one anymore,
Yeah.
I just jumped. And then the next day I got 3 calls about doing like some home health work. 3 different companies were like, hey, we want you to do this, this, and the other. So it was still a transition. It was like, I shifted over into still healthcare, but it was freedom and flexibility. It was
Right.
not being in the hospital, and it was being with my child and
Yeah.
being able to create a schedule that was aligned with me. And people were reaching out for help. So I was then gaining clients from nutrition and fitness coaching. So it just all, like, once you decide, the universe, God will move the mountains. It's
Yeah.
almost like boom, like, okay, she's ready. Everybody get into position. Go, 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 go. She's ready. Like,
Yeah.
and then everything appears,
Yeah.
everything that you ask for. And it's just your level of trust, surrender, and letting go.
Yeah.
And that is so challenging for still to this day. I'm still challenged with like, oh, should I? And then it's just like, Jaci, that decision is that's what's going to get the ball rolling, the universe moving, the energy shifting.
Mm.
So that's, and then it's just been like that ever since. And it's just being able to trust, setting things up, in my mind of what I believe I desire, what I want to be possible, and then focusing.
Yeah.
There's power in your focus, obviously, because what you focus on expands and grows and all the things. So it's that shift of focusing to what is it that you actually want. Don't focus on what you don't want, or that you're going to get more of that.
Yeah.
So you want to switch your job, you want a new relationship, you want this, that, and the other. Focus on that.
Right.
Speak life into that. And that will be
And take aligned
it.
action. Like, you weren't just thinking, you thought about it first, but then the time came when it was like, okay, enough is enough. No more of that. I quit.
Yes,
And
that
then
was the
boom,
aligned
boom,
action.
boom, new opportunities right
Yes.
there.
And I think that's a piece too that many people think is like, you have to put in work hard, sweat equity, team no sleep. I was just having a conversation with someone about this, and it's aligned action is just that. It's really, what are you guided to do? And aligned action could be answer that email,
Yeah.
pick up the telephone, send that text message. Like, these are the actionable steps. It's not, you have to like hustle and grind and do all this extra work. It's really just, you've got to sit. You've got to sit for a while too. And you've got to be still to be able to receive those aligned nudges to take the actionable steps to where you want to go and what you want to do, who you want to be
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
talk to us about main character energy and activations, because so far we've talked about just like more holistic health and fitness and nutrition, but as you've gone on, there's been a lot more identity work and like more kind of a spiritual component to the coaching and the work that you do.
Yeah, the identity is everything. And earlier on when I was coaching around mindset manifestation, it is about what you desire, obviously, but it's also about who do you get to be? Who are you becoming as you are desiring, consciously creating and manifesting the things in your life. You must be that before you see that,
Yeah.
and the conversation too that I've had is like, we're taught, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. Oh, I'll believe it when I see it. But it's really, you believe it, then you see it.
Yeah.
It's a switch. It's such a mindset shift. And the main character came about maybe a year and a half ago of really understanding, like, we create our own reality. I've been saying that for years. We create our own reality. But in that reality, you are the main character. You are the star. You are the show. You
Yeah.
are the director, the producer, the writer, the actor. You're all the things. And looking back at how I've been able to consciously create my life, I had to be the healthy person before I actually saw the physical manifestation of that. It was the mindset of, okay, if I'm going to be this healthy person, if I'm going to get on this bodybuilding stage, who am I being? How am I being?
Yeah.
To be able to produce the results and the lifestyle that I wanted to create. And so I'm teaching that now in regards to a 4-step process of being that person.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and just like we just talked about, it's the decision. That's the first thing. You make a decision. We have the conscious choice to choose. You're either going to say yes or no, or right or left, but your power is in your choice and decision.
Yeah.
And then once you decide the life that you want to live, then it's really embracing that person, really looking at embracing that person that you're becoming.
Yeah.
And then we're going to embody into her, integrate into her. But some people the decision is the first step, right? And the decision is the one that they don't really even know.
Yeah.
What is it that they want, the life they want to live, who they want to be. So once we can get through that and really get clear about that, another challenge I see is how to be that. Like, if I've never been that person, how am I I can't even visualize that.
Yeah.
So, we take inspiration from others. When you see someone who has a successful business or has a healthy lifestyle that you like, draw inspiration. It's not envy, it's not jealousy, but you're inspired by that person's ability to live that life, right? So it's really just being able to navigate and embrace those components and adopt them for yourself. So then now you are being that person, but you've got to be it now, and it's little steps. It's not a big overhaul. But those little steps of you acting and being in that character will then produce the external results and experiences for you. That the inner world creates the outer world.
Yes. Yeah. And I loved how you talked about, like, it's the little steps. And I think sometimes that's the hardest thing for our mind to get on board with is, it's like, it feels like it would be easier to like amputate the leg than to like pull the splinter out of the foot, and I don't know why that is, but it seems like, no, it has to be some big swooping drastic thing.
Yes.
And yet typically when I see people try to do that, what that creates is nervous system dysregulation. Like,
oh my goodness.
It's, you're trying to jump across a canyon instead of taking step along the path. And it's true, like, when we want to create lasting change, it really is those seemingly small steps, which sometimes aren't even actions at first. Sometimes they're just thoughts and word choice and, choosing the way that you're going to feel consciously. And then that turns into the next thing. And it's not until you look backwards that you're like, holy shit, I've gone 10 miles. Like, I'm in a completely different terrain. I've got a whole new world around me than I did when I started.
You hit it. That's the piece. When we look back is when we can see all of the steps and how they align. But also what you said, it's the word choices and thought, but they carry energy. They carry a vibration. They carry a frequency, and the thoughts that we are thinking are creating our life and our lives. And people they're like, oh, well, you want me to say affirmations? You want me to choose different vocabulary? Fuck yeah, I do. Because that is going to change your world. How you're thinking now is producing the life you're living. It's free 99 to change your thoughts and
Right.
to switch over your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Do you know? So it's understanding that those are producing because they are putting out a frequency, a vibration, and an energy in regards to what you want to experience.
Yeah.
And it's this conversation too about many people think, oh, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Oh, when it rains, it pours. And this is an energy. If this is what you're thinking, then yeah, when it rains, it is going to pour.
Right.
But can you can you easily switch over and pivot to the sun is always shining and my life is, bright and beautiful? Like you get to choose that
Right.
thought. And then when you do choose that thought and you're continuous with it or consistent with it, you'll begin to see how quickly your life will begin to change and pivot as well.
Yeah. Can you share some examples of things that have shown up in your life or ways that your life has changed by choosing new words, choosing new thoughts?
Ooh, I love this conversation because I'm like the queen of vocabulary. I am so, it's really interesting. I have a secret power. Like I could tell the thoughts that people are thinking, like one by the composure on their face,
Yeah.
but also what you're thinking, ultimately your words are your thoughts in action,
Yeah.
right? So if you are finally saying something to me, I've known now what you've been thinking, ruminating on, thinking over and over and over again for now you to express that and create that and put that energy out.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just really what you don't want to happen. I think this is the easiest way to do it is what you don't want. You don't want bills. Don't want debt. You don't want a deadbeat husband. You don't want this. You don't want that. Flip it.
Yeah.
What do you actually want? What is the opposite of that?
Yes.
You want abundance. You want prosperity. You want a respectful, supporting, nurturing, loving partner. You want kids who are happy, healthy, and thriving versus, oh, my kid is, oh, he's messing up with homework. He's messing with, why are you focusing on? Because why are you focusing on that? Because what you focus on expands, and that energy that you're putting out in regards to your language and your words is casting that experience or casting spells, we could say too.
Yeah.
That is what you are producing. That is what's coming up or coming back to you. So for me, it's just, I wake up with, and this is a practice. Don't get me wrong. We have been programmed and taught, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of thinking and believing in this one way.
Yeah.
So it's going to take consistent, persistent practice. I don't like to say it takes time because time is
Right.
time.
Right.
It is what it is, but it is going to take effort.
Yeah.
And it is
Conscious
going to take
effort.
years.
Because
Absolutely.
not only are we practiced in the other way, but actually the primitive part of our brain is hardwired. Like you don't have to give your brain permission and teach it to go out and look for danger and potential things that are going wrong and evidence that there's something for you to be worried about. No permission needed, no training needed. Mind will do that all on its own.
The reptilian brain will just come in and activate.
That's
Danger?
right. So it's like this, what you're talking about is the conscious effort that's not only the counterbalance, but that actually builds momentum in the other direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a belief. Your thoughts, you think something over and over and over again, it becomes into a belief. So now it's the same thing. You must think about something else positively for it to then become a new belief. And, like I was just saying, that whole belief and that thought about we have to work hard to see, X, Y, and Z. We have to work hard for our goals to manifest or to come into physical reality. But it's the effort. It is your thought about it. It's your belief about it. It's not necessarily hard physical work.
Yeah.
So it's just being able to reframe your thoughts and belief around things and your words, your language around it, and speaking life, positively, into your experiences.
Yeah. No, I love that so much. And, going back to kind of the origin of the question, I'm curious if you have any fun examples in your own life of the ways that things have changed, because I notice with my clients and just like testimonials in general, it's like, I don't know, the things that stick out are always like the big things, like the house, the car, the whatever.
Yeah.
But the sweetest ones often are like, when my clients are sharing like, oh my gosh, like I love yellow daisies, and literally a package arrived on my doorstep that was like a little handmade soap in the shape of a daisy, and it was yellow. Like
Those are
things
the
like that, where
best.
it's like, it's just so sweet because it's like representative of how much this conscious energy that we are a part of cares for us and loves us and like wants to see our every heart's desire come to fruition, even like the smallest, seemingly insignificant things. So I don't know about you, but those are always the ones that are like just like so touching to me. And
Those are the best.
I think they don't get enough airtime, like we're not necessarily like shouting those all across the internet, but they're like the ones that we really treasure.
But those are the ones that if you notice enough, create the big thing.
Yes.
It's the small little winks from the universe where if you begin to notice and give energy and give gratitude to those, bigger things are, I mean, if you can see the smaller things, and that's, a big piece of just slowing down,
Yeah.
right? And not being so distracted. But it's the little things that, they light me up. So yes, I do have an example. Most recently, actually, I was in Michigan with my ex, and we were going to go to the beach. And I was asking him, I said, okay, is there going to be an umbrella? Cause I don't want to be in the direct sunlight. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, we don't have an umbrella, but we can stop and grab one. And I said, okay. So we're coming from, I don't know, one city to another, and it was like an hour-long drive. So we stopped at one place. They didn't have an umbrella. And it's in these moments where you can be easy with it.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, there's no fucking umbrella. Like what the, like if you bring that energy, you're going to get that energy.
Right.
So
You
it's
could
like,
let that
okay,
ruin your day if you wanted to. Yeah.
exactly. So we're going on and we stop at another place, and he's like, oh, I want a chair, like a beach chair. And I'm like, okay, are there any umbrellas? He's like, no. The salesperson was like, oh, I think we sold out. And I'm like, okay. In my mind, I'm thinking, cause he's a little new to this conscious creation, and I'm just kind of like, I go with the flow.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, there's no umbrella here. I said, but what I'm going to do is change into my bathing suit. So I go into the bathroom at the store, and I'm like, cause we're still going to the beach.
Yeah.
There will be an umbrella. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's coming.
Yeah.
So I change, and we're, having a good time. We're making jokes about not finding an umbrella. We finally get to the beach, and he's like, I said, okay, well, let's just go, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We get to the beach, and we go under this, it's like a little stand, like a food stand.
Yeah.
And he goes, there's an umbrella at the food stand. And I said, really? He's like, this wasn't here 2 weeks ago. And I said, what do you mean? He said, they weren't selling umbrellas and chairs at this place. I was here 2 weeks ago with our son.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh, of course there's an umbrella. And Emily, the last umbrella.
Uh-huh.
Like, what the what? He's looking at me like, like,
Right.
what the hell? None of this was here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I said, okay, the umbrella, we'll go set up. And I said, and then after I want to go, I want to have ice cream. And it was just the flow, the ease, and the fun,
Yeah.
the joy of that process.
Yeah.
There was no umbrella along the way, but of course, when we get to where we are, there's the umbrella.
Yes.
And so reminding him of this story when he gets, I mean, it was just recently, but just now I'm like, umbrella. Like I could just say umbrella. And his energy will shift.
Yeah.
He doesn't get all worked up and weird about things. But I said, this is beautiful. Had he not experienced this, I don't think he really would have understood what I meant.
Right.
Or what I mean when I say conscious creation.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
And it's like, and that it can be pretty effortless. Like, I think sometimes
yes,
as soon as it feels like it's not happening, we feel like we have to lean in and make it happen.
right.
And it's like,
Yes,
well, God
yes,
already knew that exactly where you were going, there was an umbrella. So,
yes,
like you didn't need to drive 30 minutes out of your way and go to 10 extra stores or whatever. It's like, no,
yes.
it was there waiting for you.
Or be irritated and be
Yeah.
like, oh, well, fuck it. We're not going to go because there's no umbrella. It's just, and it goes to your podcast, the joyous path
Yeah.
to millions and the joyous path to life and living and
Yeah.
understanding that energy literally creates, it just pours into every ounce of every molecule and atom and just everything into your life. Coming from an energy and a place of joy is
Yes.
so fucking powerful.
Yes. I love it. Amen.
Yes.
Okay. So, where are you hanging out online? How can people connect with you?
I have been playing on the Instagram. I do enjoy um, posting my stories and getting DMs. I'm on this new kind of kick. I'm in the dating world, so now I've been talking about dating chronicles and dating as the main character and really shifting my energy into a more feminine, more receiving, more just playful, joyous.
Yes.
Um, feminine kind of energy. So Instagram and Facebook stories as well. And yeah, those are my two places that I love to hang out. So please come and see me there. Jump in my DMs so we can chit chat a little bit. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Amazing. So, yeah, everyone listening, go connect with Jaci. She's a fun follow. The fitness, the dating chronicles, the main character
Yeah,
activations. Like, I think you have something there for everyone.
right.
And you already put, I think, such an exclamation point on the concept of the joyous path to millions. And ironically, we didn't really talk about money that much in this episode, like we sometimes do. Um, but I would be curious just before we like fully wrap up,
Yeah.
were there like have there been pieces in your journey where you've had to like do some up leveling around wealth consciousness or
Oh.
where money has felt scarce and you had to like really do a practice to shift that? Like, is there anything that you can share? Because I know that would be so valuable to everyone listening.
Absolutely. The transition from employee mindset to entrepreneur mindset and believing that money can only come from this one way, from a paycheck. How am I going to create money on my own? Yes, I can attract clients, but that's not something we're taught. We're taught we're going to go to this place and they are going to give us a check versus going out to really, and it's almost the opposite because now you're talking so much more about yourself and how the value that you have versus somebody putting a
Yeah.
number or value on you. So that in itself was a big shift. So I did a lot of subconscious work, money mindset work, lots and lots of books and reading about. It goes back to it goes back to the affirmations and really affirming what is to be true and really understanding that if I'm putting my energy into fitness and nutrition, all of these things, money is that too. Money is energy
Yeah.
and it's an exchange of value. It's an exchange of energy and understanding that. But that shift, and I'm to be super honest and super transparent, it's still a challenge. Sometimes I still have struggled with it. But one thing that I remind myself of is that I always get what I need.
Yeah.
I've never been without.
Yeah.
And I don't ever think I will be without, but when things do begin to feel tight or scarce and I just, I always get what I need.
Yeah.
Source is always here. Infinite supply is always in flow. It's just the mantras. It's the affirmations and boom, I
Yeah.
always get what I need.
Yeah, I love that so much. And and like same. I still, there are still moments that feel scarce or that trigger fears and it's in a way it's almost laughable because you, like many of my clients, like me, like our worst case scenario is to go get paid 6 figures or multi 6 figures by someone. Like that is our tragedy, crisis, shit hit the fan.
So true.
And it's like, when you remember that, it's comical, but it's like, because it doesn't feel that way in your body. Like occasionally your body is just like, oh my God, everything's crashing down. And it seems like this like life or death situation. And it's like, wait, hang on. So like, let's just be clear. My worst case scenario is like what most people are dreaming of and have on their vision boards. Like, we're good. We're good.
God. I didn't even think about it like that, but you're so right. We could easily, I always get what I need, but what I need could be need and more. Like,
for sure.
You're absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. You always get more than enough. Like,
yeah.
And I think, you know, for me, the reminder continues to be, I always get it, and it may not come the way that I think it's going to come. And so it's like releasing that grip, releasing the control on how it can come to me, because usually God has like a way better plan, a way easier way for the money to come or the thing I want or whatever. And it's like, I'm just blocking it because I'm so convinced it has to come through this one way.
This one path, we get so myopic, especially in healthcare with nurses. It's like, okay, how many extra shifts? Okay, if I pick up another job over here, it's only this one way of the money coming. Once I shifted that and was taught it can come in unexpected, expected, unimaginable, imaginable ways, shapes, cash, checks, Venmo, like I just put it all out there. And when I was in my beginning, when I started to like manifest money and get really clear around that and open that portal up, I would get so many checks from, what are they called? Class action suits.
Oh yeah.
I would get random checks weekly.
Yeah.
I'm like, did I work there? Like, what is
this? You're like, did I even sign up for this? Did I even buy this thing? It's like, we know you bought a lipstick from Sephora in 2013. And you're like, did I?
I was like, what the hell? But checks in the mail because I opened up the portal. Like, it's coming in anyway. I don't know what way, but I'm open to it. And boom, here they are. But yeah, that was like a lot in the beginning. So for those who are wanting more wealth, more abundance, just be open to it coming in ways that you could not even think about if you tried.
Yeah. Amazing. I love it so much.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on the show. And to everyone listening, thank you so much for being here. We will talk to you soon. Okay, make sure you follow Jaci on Instagram at the Jaci Marie. Here are my top takeaways. Number 1, don't check someone else's boxes. Jaci was like, I did all the things you were supposed to do, the education, the career, the house, the kid. And then it was like, what the heck? And that happens when we've been busy checking someone else's boxes. We're not going to get the fulfillment that we think we're going to. Number 2, we go first. So that idea of leaping and the net will appear. And everyone's version of leaping is different. It, of course, doesn't have to be that you quit your job without a backup plan, but sometimes that is what happens. And I love that Jaci quit her job on a Facebook Live and then immediately the net appeared and there were new opportunities for her. Number 3, believe it and then you'll see it. So don't wait to see it first. And this is like forever my life lesson too, is just like continuing to remember that it's the inner environment first. And even though I know it, the world sucks us in. And it's so easy to be just in the 3D and taking in information from our 5 senses and getting that equation flipped around. And so I always love the reminder that it's no, believe it first and then you'll see it. Number 4, use thoughts and words to change your life. I love Jaci's focus on language and thought discipline. And number 5, be receptive. Get into that receiving energy and how transformative that is when you're wanting to call in more wealth and abundance and you're wanting to shift out of that paradigm of feeling like you're doing it all. Then you've got to get into receiving, get into that feminine energy so that someone or something, some higher power can do more for you. And that can only happen when you are receptive to it. So thank you so much for tuning in. As mentioned, I've got a beautiful lineup of interviews coming. So make sure that you have liked and subscribed to the show. If you would, leave a review for the show or share it. Those each take probably 30 seconds each, and they make a really significant difference in growing the podcast. It's my goal this year to take it from a top 2% podcast to a top 1%, and I can't do it on my own. It's really going to be up to listeners to share it and talk about it with a friend and help expand the base of people who are tuned into this show and getting great value from it. So thank you for being here. I know it's been valuable. I know it's been useful in your life, or you wouldn't be tuned in. And I can't wait to be back with you next week. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. Changing the way that we think, feel, and talk about money is up-leveling the planet. I truly believe that. The ripple effect starts with you tuning in, and it spreads when you share this show on Instagram and Facebook. You can tag me at mmakesmoney. And you know what moves the needle the most? Taking just a minute to leave a 5-star review on iTunes. This show isn't free to produce, so let's multiply those dollars invested and help this show reach a bigger audience each week. So thank you in advance for your help. I really appreciate it. And until next time, I'm sending you all the magic money vibes on your joyous path to millions.